So the whole debate surrounding CRT just reached a new level where a parent in Texas at a school board meeting threatened other parents for opposing CRT.
For those who got an issue with this critical race theory equity, this is something I fought for my children. How dare you come off in here and talk about the things that my daddy and my grandparents went through, the lynching, the oppression, Jim Crow, and my kids are still being afflicted by this. How dare you come off in here and challenge me on critical race theory? Look at the word racism. This is something deliberately done to people of African descent to shackle us down. This hate, fear, mugging won't work no more. It's over with. We are not our ancestors. I got over 1,000 soldiers ready to go.
We're not the board.
So this is what happens when you let emotions cloud your judgment. First, he was talking about slavery and Jim Crow and how his kids are still dealing with this somehow, which doesn't make any sense. Then he pivots towards, we're not our ancestors. We got 1,000 soldiers ready to go. So he just completely made this shift and got super emotional. And then in the second video, you're going to hear him clearly make a threat.
I got over 1,000 soldiers ready to go.
We're not the board. He shouldn't be.
1,000 go. I don't care.
Yeah, we're the police.
My first amendment rights. My first amendment rights are here.
The board is just running it. Not me. If you want to talk to me, I'd be happy to talk to you. You're
You will not challenge us.
Time.
You're not challenging us.
Time.
That's the board. Yeah, I'm gonna bring my soldiers with me next time. So real. I can look. I bet you that.
Locked and loaded. You just threaten me. Bye.
Now, I know proponents of CRT are going to downplay his rhetoric and try to minimize the threat that he clearly just made. First, he said he has 1,000 soldiers. What does that mean? What does that have to do with CRT being taught in schools? You know, if you look at the definition of soldier, one who serves in an army, an enlisted person, or a non-commissioned officer. So, I mean, if you say you got 1,000 soldiers, it sounds like you got people that are ready for combat. And then obviously everybody knows what locked and loaded means. A command to prepare a weapon for battle, prepare for an imminent event. So him saying, I've got 1,000 soldiers, I'm going to bring them with me next time, locked and loaded. What does that sound like to you? I mean, think about it like this. Could you go into a bank and then let's say the bank teller pisses you off and you say, I'll be back with 1,000 soldiers locked and loaded. Right? Could you say that at a gas station? Could you say that at any place of business? Could you say that you'll be back with soldiers and say that you'll be locked and loaded and have that be seen as anything other than a threat? Exactly. So people are going to try to downplay this and say that he didn't make a threat. And then when you factor in that he is a former militia member, and I think that that's important because when he references soldiers locked and loaded, he actually has soldiers that he could go get, recruit, that would be locked and loaded. And with the debate around CRT becoming more heated and our country being so divided, it's not hard to believe that somebody might actually do something. Now, to be fair, we don't know what the lady said to him. We don't know what other parents were saying before that, but he clearly just let his emotions get the best of him. He got unhinged. He sounded really crazy, and he's spewing lies about CRT. I mean, this whole idea that critical race theory is just, we're just trying to teach history is a complete lie, because history has already been taught correctly in its proper context. Yes, America has a checkered past, has slavery in its past, Jim Crow in its past, segregation, lynchings in its past. The key word there is past. Let's live in the present. If we're living in the present, we need to talk about race in context today. See, people don't want to talk about that. They only want to try to marginalize and divide people based on racial groups now, because we have moved beyond a lot of racial issues in the past. People want to bring it back up. I have no idea why they want to bring it back up. And for him to talk about, my kids are dealing with this now. How? Could you explain how? And can you explain how critical race theory somehow improves upon that? when the whole basis of critical race theory is about a new way to discern truth. Yes, they want to elevate the marginalized voices, but it's also about undermining and completely rejecting, neutralizing principles like, Martin Luther King. Judge people based on the content of character, not based on the color of their skin. It's also about teaching new ways of just discerning how you view the world, right? For example, science is racist, math, standardized testing, those things are all being called racist now. They're trying to change testing. They're trying to lower the bar for Black and brown people, which obviously does more harm than good. It's insulting. They're teaching white kids that they are blind to their racism. They said that, white people are basically irredeemably racist. And then they have the nerve to get upset when people notice and don't want their kids being taught that. It's a crazy world we're living in right now, where now you have people making threats if parents don't want this indoctrination of their kids crammed down on them. This isn't about teaching history. This is about militarizing the youth. This is about teaching an ideology that's totally false, totally not based on reality whatsoever. And it's just creating more tension and hostility in the country, which is the last thing we need right now. And you know what? I wonder, where the hell is Merrick Garland? Merrick Garland was all about going after parents who are supposedly getting aggressive towards school boards, and he's got the FBI, he's ready to mobilize them. But you don't hear anything from the DOJ regarding this parent who just made a threat, an open threat. Again, he said 1,000 soldiers locked and loaded. You don't hear anything from Merrick Garland, which only further proves that his targeting of parents before was purely political. It was a political motivation behind weaponizing law enforcement against parents who don't want critical race theory taught. There's the proof right there. So hopefully nothing happens in this situation. He clearly said he's coming back with 1,000 soldiers. Regardless if people want to downplay that and just be like, oh, he's just using a figure of speech. He made a threat. And hopefully nothing happens. Hopefully cooler heads prevail in this situation. Critical race theory is wicked, wicked, evil, Marxist indoctrination. And it's good to see more parents of all races speaking out against it.